Yes, doing well. I'm with Sam and Knight. We just thought we'd just put this video together. To be honest, we're not gonna lie, we didn't really have many video ideas to go with tonight. But hey, some news has come out that the 25-man squad has been announced, which we will talk about. We want yous lot. Come on, the link is pinned in the live chat. We'll be live as long as possible, up to 1 hour. I'll ask my co-host, Mr. Mulliner. How are you?
Good. Yeah, good job that 25-man squad got announced today. So some surprises in there, wasn't there? A couple maybe a bit harshly done by, but yeah, it's certainly interesting.
It was interesting. Get your commenting as well. Like I say, if you want to come on the show, it is pinned. You'll see that in the pinned chat if you want to get yourselves on. If you are watching as well, if you can smash the like button, that does help us out. That would be wonderful. Welcome to the latest video. And of course, you've got the membership where members get loads more videos from me, Johnny, and Sam predominantly. Occasionally, you might see one of the two others might do one, but it's mostly us three. And there's all the socials if you wanted to see what we're up to, and the website as well to see what there's some profiles of us on whatever, and everyone who we've worked with, etc. But yes, let's get cracking then. So what shall we begin with? Shall we begin with let's share the screen. Let's do it. Let's get it open. You're going to see a lovely Google image there. But we'll begin with probably the most surprising, would you say, Sam? Isaac Hayden?
Yeah, surprising in the sense that because of just who it is. Let's not forget he is injured. And he's set to be injured till end of March. So that only leaves 6 to 8 weeks of the season left. So I can kind of see why. Obviously, there Hayden's put a very professional statement out on the socials, but he's obviously very, very disappointed to be left out, and it's probably the biggest surprise, just because the rumours about Lewis had been happening for a few days, hadn't it? But yeah, it's an odd one. I mean, this is probably a snowball effect from the Bruno Guimaraes signing, wasn't it? Because you don't always need Hayden and Shelvey in there to hang back in the midfield. Obviously, Hendrick's left on loan. So, at the end of the day, now Newcastle have £100 million midfield with the two Brazilians and Joe Willock. So something had to give, but I have to admit I was a bit surprised that it was Hayden that got the chop.
Yeah, some people might think it was Gale, could have been the other one, but Hayden goes on to say, I'm bitterly disappointed not have been included in the 25-man squad for the second half of the season due to injury. It's been a tough 12 months for me, with injuries massively affecting my availability for the club. Now is the time for me to reflect. I'll be working harder than ever to come back stronger, like I always do.
That's a good point, though. He had been playing through the pain barrier for a long, long time. So with Isaac Hayden, again, heart on your sleeve, and he gives it all. So I can't criticise him one bit. But, when you're out for so long, it's time for him to rest and recover. And I hope it's not the last that we see of him.
Yeah, I doubt it. I think if the squad gets better, he's not a bad option, isn't he, compared to Guimaraes, and possibly even both of them playing alongside each other if we need to go defensive. He goes on to say, I'll be a supporter like everyone else, and I'll be supporting the lads and the staff as best as I can for the rest of the season. We all want to see the club climb the table as much as possible, and I am no exception. So that's what he has said there, Sam. Is it all down to injury? Because he wasn't really fancied under Howe.
I think it is. He was still a good option with the squad, wasn't he? But like I say, sometimes you can't, or you don't need to have him and Shelvey in a midfield. If you think of the games that we had under Howe at the start of his reign, I'm thinking like your Brentford at homes and the teams against the bottom of the table. You don't need two players that will hang back. And that showed in that the midfield just wasn't quick enough to get out. There was no support coming from midfield to the front line. So that could be something to do with it. But now with Bruno and Joe Linton in midfield, with that should allow Willock to get forward like he was doing at the back end of last season when he went on that fantastic scoring run. But which is what we need to see more of. He grew into the game fantastically well at Ellen Road the other week. So we need to see more and get that improvement going in him again.
Yeah, and you've got the option of Richie now playing a little bit further forward as well, because we've got cover as well, haven't we? With obviously Dummett, Dan Burn to fill over there. You've got Matt Targett. So again, you can put Richie further forward.
Well, that would kind of bring me on to Jamal Lewis, because I think that's what's done him is his kind of lack of versatility in that he's just an out-and-out left-back, isn't he? Whereas you look at Dummett can play centre-half, Kraft can play centre-half, Richie could play further forward. You know, I think it's tremendously harsh. I wasn't a big fan of bringing Targett in, I have to be honest. I would have rather persevered with Jamal Lewis. I don't think it was a priority, and something like that could have waited till the summer. But it is what it is. We're here now, and I hope Targett does fantastically well in this second half of the season. Do you remember when we almost signed him under Rafa for like £3 million?
I know, it's crackers, and he's a big fan of Geordie Shaw, isn't he? Yeah, big fan of you know, you should always, professional football, I should always delete their previous tweets. But since Sam's mentioned it, we'll have a look at Jamal Lewis' kind of cryptic message when he put on Instagram. And if you want to come on and have your say about the players and also the transfer window, the link is pinned in the comments. But yeah, he's just looking up at the heavens. What's he trying to tell us there, Sam? Why me? Or is he confused?
Possibly. Yeah, I feel for the lad, because it seemed like we were just starting to get somewhere, and yeah, he got the injury, and now he's found himself out the squad. On the flip side, if you knew you were going out the squad, why you would turn down a loan move, I don't know, because you know you still need to be getting yourself games, playing for the reserves. Well, I mean, I was going to say sitting on the bench then, but he can't. He's not eligible. But you know, rotting in the reserves for 6 months or whatever isn't going to do you any favours. So he really shouldn't have turned down that loan move. I can understand, because I mean, apparently Birmingham and Stoke were in for him, so I can understand him not coming down to this part of the world because it's a shithole. But you know, it is what it is. He still should have been getting some game time somewhere, some competitive game time.
I feel for me. I
do.
Because he came in for 3-4 games, it's like, blooming hell, he looks decent, you know, and then he gets injured, and it's like, I think I agree. He's got to go out and just play some games, and if he could get his move to Turkey and he reverses it, I mean, there's not many European transfer windows that are open. I think the Russian league might be open, Turkey, but there's not many. As one of my cats want to get on screen.
Yeah, Turkey's open for another week, few days to a week, I think. I don't know the exact date, but yeah, it's an odd one. I wouldn't be queuing up to go to Turkey, but I think it's the versatility that's done it. I'd sooner have Jamal Lewis over Targett. I'd sooner have Jamal Lewis over Dummett at left back.
I would have Lewis over Richie at left back.
100%. I think it is very, very harsh, but you know, Howe's obviously seen something that he doesn't like in training or what around the club. I don't know, but he obviously prioritised bringing in a left back last month.
Yeah, we've got Callum waiting to come on. Callum will get you on very shortly. We'll just rattle through the news, and anybody else who wants to come on, link is pinned in the comments. Ciaran Clark is not a surprise for me, especially when Dan Burn. It was really probably between Clark and Fernandez who gets that last slot. Fernandez, I think, is incredibly harsh how he's been treated.
He's been injured.
He has, but when he came in, he was brilliant. And didn't get the start.
No, he wasn't.
No, when he came off the bench, he was fantastic. So he came off the bench and he was brilliant. And then he didn't play the next game. Like, what's he got to do? We'll have a game.
Yeah, I think some people are looking through rose-tinted glasses at Fernandez. Start of the season, he was exceptionally poor.
But a great servant. I would have him over Clark.
Yeah. But, of course. That's just not an argument, is it? I mean, Clark's been woeful since the back end of last season. He was the only one that didn't revive himself after that poor run and that poor result at Brighton. I mean, the mistakes he's made against Norwich and I just didn't want to see him play for the club again after that. He'd done well up until then, in the time he's been here, but he had his time. And again, why would you turn down a loan move to, was it Borough? Why?
He doesn't have to move house either. So
no, but the likes of Clark will obviously be gone at the end of the season. Fernandez, I think, will be gone at the end of the season. Cher might even be gone at the end of the season. There's gonna if we do stay up, there is going to be an absolute transformation over the summer.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. And Ciaran Clark is fantastic. We've got that relationship with Lascelles and the Championship when we first come up in the season. He's playing regularly for Ireland, and a lot of injuries starting to come in. He's lost his players for Ireland, and this Ireland side is not the greatest. It's possibly one of the worst, if not the worst, Ireland side that I've seen since following football since the mid-90s. So can't even get in the squad, and Jeff Hendrick can, that tells you. And yeah, I don't know what's happened to him. He's just massively plummeted. And yes, you talk about the Norwich one, and then when he's out for a few games, as soon as he comes in, he has that mistake with the Bravkan. It's like, man, get him out of the squad. And then he gets that red card as well. And the friendly, what's he thinking, man, throwing a punch in the. I know he made up and kissed and made up afterwards, but come on, man, mate.
Yeah, it didn't look great, did it?
No, it doesn't. And I'm not surprised.
I mean, that's probably. I mean, it wasn't for want of trying, and this isn't a criticism to the owners at all, because they've been great. I love them to bits, and the efforts during January was fantastic. But I would have liked another centre back come in. Dan Burns, obviously, in the form of his life, and as quite rightly said, he would have only left Brighton for Newcastle. So,
well, I said this the other day with Johnny. I'm not excited over Targett and Burn. I think that's the good.
No, I'm not excited, but they're short-term signings. Like Chris Wood, that can do the job in the short term, keep us up this season, and then get us to, a solid position next season when we can start to build properly and get some, I'd love us to go back in for Botman in the summer. I really would.
Yeah. Okay. Let's have a look at the 25-man squad in full. I'll just switch my screen over to it, and we'll look at the club's website. And obviously, we've talked about the 3 players that are out. Here we go. Share the screen. Get it at full screen so you guys can read it at home if you haven't seen it. Newcastle named the 25-man squad for the second half of the season. The January transfer closed on Monday night, meaning the Premier League clubs had to resubmit their squads to the league this week. Trippier, Wood, Guimaraes, Dan Burn are all in, while Matt Targett arrived on loan for the remainder of the campaign. And as we already know, Hayden's got a long-term injury. Ciaran Clark and Lewis missed out.
Big pressure for Matt Targett taking that number 13 shirt after the legacy of Muto.
Yeah, I think Targett might start a few more games than Muto, mind. I think he will. Looking at the squad, though, the squad is definitely better, though, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at the squad, there's a couple may have not made it. Emil Kraft is probably one, and Dwight Gale is probably the other.
Yeah, I mean, Gale would have been out if we'd have signed Ekitike, or even if we'd have got Lingard, you'd have made an argument for dropping Gale. And then the Kraft one is, I think that's the same as Dummett because of his versatility. You need players that are versatile and that can fill in and do a job in a few positions. So that's what Dummett's got going for him. I prefer him at centre back. Dummett, I like Dummett. Don't get me wrong, but I don't like him at left back anymore. Saw that against Rafinha. I mean, Dummett played his heart out, and thank God he did, because he gave it all and had to come off. And obviously, Manquillo changed the game when he came on, but Dummett for me is a centre back now, a left-sided centre back, which is why he's got in. And the same with Kraft, really. If we do have to switch a formation halfway through the game for a plan B, then you got your right-sided centre back in Emil Kraft. It's just a versatility argument. I think that's what's done Jamal Lewis, really. Yeah,
let's bring Callum in before I'm going to get Sam to pick his 11, because we did this the other day with Johnny. I want to get Sam's opinion on it, and then we'll talk more about the transfers. Callum, are you there? Are you not there? Earth to Callum.
Looks like I've got the NFTV tattoo on my forehead.
Callum?
He's not there.
I cannot hear you. He's got like a white screen in the background. Callum, reconnect yourself. Come out. Come back in. And we'll get you on in a second. And if anyone else wants to come on, the link is in the comments pinned. If you want to come on, we'll try again. Nope, he's gone. He's gone. He's going to come back in, come back out. Right. Whilst we wait for that, we'll have a look at, because I wanted to do this with yourself, Sam. So this is, I want to ask Johnny what we think will be the Everton game. I'm going to scrap that and what you think is the best 11 right now. Okie dokie.
So right now, based on form alone, really, is what you're saying for right now. So for this
4-3-3?
Yes. For this hypothetical scenario, is everyone fit?
Yeah, why not? Wilson's fit, yeah.
Okay.
Who's he keeping?
Well, you've already typed him in.
I know, I thought you might see him.
So left back Jamal Lewis. I mean,
who plays left back? Is this just a case he's straight in?
Yeah, I think he will be straight in.
Really?
I do. Left-sided centre back is obviously Dan Burn.
Interesting.
But again, he can fill in. He can fill in at left back, can't he? So again, it's that versatility element. So on form, it's Fabian Schär. He was majestic against Leeds.
Now, this is where me and Johnny had an argument the other day because he thinks that Eddie Howe will drop him. I don't think he'll drop Lascelles.
I don't think he'll drop Lascelles either. I think it'll be Burn and Lascelles start against Everton. And there was reports, just little murmurings, that if a centre-back was to be sold in January, that it was going to be Schär. So make of that what you will. Right back is just plainly obvious because he's a level above everything. And that is, of course, Emil Kraft. No, Kieran Trippier.
Yeah,
Kieran just Trippier. Got such a sexy football brain.
Yeah, you're nicking that quote, aren't you? You want to be put on your gravestone, don't you?
He has, though. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, he's the talker, he's the leader, so we know that. So
right, the middle of that three in midfield is Guimaraes.
Okay, so we're Bruno Guimaraes. Now, who plays alongside him?
It's a tale as old as time. Now you've actually got selection dilemmas. I mean,
do you?
I mean, you could make it an argument.
I think there's two other obvious ones.
What, Joe Linton and Willock?
No, I don't think he'll drop Shelvey.
The thing is, this is what I said when we signed him with Bruno, that he's like a Hayden and a Shelvey moulded into one. So you can have Joe Linton and Willock either side, which is what I'm going to put, by the way. And they can press forward when need to be. So, I mean, Shelvey's been great, but I don't think you need, again, you don't need the two to sit in front of the midfield. The midfield needs to start getting out quicker. Do
you really think Willock's better than Shelvey at the minute? The best 11?
No, but in that system with Bruno in there, then yes, I do.
Interesting. So yeah, I think Shelvey's.
You can't just pick the 11 the 11 best players, because it's not always that's what gels in that system that I've played. If you were going for another system, then they might be able to play together, or you'd have Shelvey in there ahead of Willock. But Shelvey doesn't get up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, does he? He goes up a bit, side, down, back a bit, hangs back, brings the ball 2 yards forward, and then pelts it 30 yards out wide. Whereas Bruno can do a bit of everything. And then you want Willock to be getting in there, supporting the attack, arriving late in the box. That proper box-to-box Mo Diarmi type role that he did brilliantly at the end of last season. So that's my thinking with my midfield three anyway. Joe Linton still needs to work on his positional play, which I've said ever since. I've said that was his biggest flaw ever since he signed. is his positional play. And obviously now this is a new position for him that seems to be working incredibly well. He just needs to tune the finer nuances of centre midfield, because we didn't in the past few games, like seeing Joe Linton go off in midfield would have been to a detriment. Whereas against Leeds, I don't think it was. I don't think we looked that bad when. I think we looked better when he went off. But the potential's there, and obviously, you've then got your likes of John Joe, your Sean Longstaff, who again was good at when he came on at Leeds. So there's competition for places in there as well, isn't there?
There is. Is it obvious Wilson?
Yes.
Yeah. So, assuming Wilson's fit, this will be Sam's best 11 in this system. Where are you playing ESM?
Left wing.
So, ESM will go on the left-hand side. Do you think, I know it's only been 2 games, ESM and Wood can't play together?
No. Because it's only been 2 games.
Do you know what I mean by that? Is like, I look at Wood and think, stop fucking about, stop fanning about, give us a cross.
Yeah, but that's why you've got Fraser on the other side. Spoiler alert.
Whereas Wilson can read a little bit more. You can stretch the defence.
Yeah, well, you just need to mix it up. Targett will cross. There's no doubt about it. He will mix things up. That's the good. That's the good side of having Targett in there now, and he can put a cross in. That's why he did so well at Villa last season. And then Trippier and Fraser's delivery on the other side is superb. I saw something today that Fraser is statistically the worst player in the Premier League this season.
I've seen that as well. Was it by
horse shit?
Who scored?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, granted, he's paying the price for having such a rotten start to the season and playing centre mid under Steve Bruce, isn't he? I think that's part of it. But the last 4 or 5 games, he's been absolutely fantastic, and we're starting to see the real Ryan Fraser now. And he seems to have struck up a chord with Kieran Trippier. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of that partnership and seeing that blossom even more in the coming weeks. But yeah, with Wood, obviously Wood's going to be the man up top. Thank God he avoided the COVID outbreak in the New Zealand squad, by the way.
Yeah.
So otherwise we would have been.
Gale, I don't even think he would have played Gale. I think he would have played ESM up top.
I agree. And in the summer again, if we do stay up to touch wood, then you can start to add some real attacking flair to that final third, because for me, Miggy goes in the summer. Yeah,
Jay in Atlanta's in there. You won't be happy us saying it, but Jay, if you want to get yourself on, pop on, mate. You haven't been on for a while. Good to see you. But yeah, Miggy, we talk about that. I've lost patience with him. He's useless. Sorry, but what does he bring to the club? And I know we laughed at Liam when you said it over here. Yeah, that's all he does, doesn't he? What does he produce? Does he have any end product?
I don't know, but by the way, my captain of that team is Trippier, because that was in there. And just as a disclaimer, and again, like, I take some stick for this, but I'm not giving up on Jamal Lewis in any way, shape, or form. I still want him in the squad. I still like him. I know he's been terrible, but it was a bit of a shame to see him go off at Leeds, because if he'd have played the 90, got that clean sheet, because he'd looked so rock bottom on confidence, and confidence can play a huge part of a footballer's mindset and the performance on the pitch. That could have just gone some way to improve quite a lot. So I'm not ready to give up on him.
Yeah, Jason just said there, yeah, won't miss Miggy, poor player. Yeah. Jacob Murphy's a baller.
Is he? Well, we need to see it more often. I don't dislike him, and he's improved a lot. But yeah, he's not a first team player by any stretch.
Fraser screaming Saudi. He did.
Yeah, he did.
He did. Oh. We'll talk about transfers in the January transfer window next. Remember, there's still plenty of space if you do want to pop on. I'm going to have a little 2 to 3 minute break where we're going to just play my clip from NFTV Extra, where I talk what's happened with the under-23s. We shall begin with the only signing that we brought in, and it's not a real surprise. Isaac Westendorf, the very powerful centre forward, pacey, strong, good in the air, holds the ball up well, built really big. Scored 2 out of 4 games whilst he was on trial at the back end of last year. That's no surprise that that's been made permanent. Dylan Stevenson's been banging the goals in. Cameron Ferguson's now chipped in with a couple, so it's good competition in particular for Stevenson that he's got that up top, because that's what you want, isn't it? You want players to develop. So, yeah, it's a good signing, really good signing. We'll talk about Lewis Cass, who was returned to the club from injury, which is a shame. Port Vale really like him. The fans really like him as well, but he's had his injury cut. Obviously, he can play across anywhere the back four. Had a great season out on loan in Hartlepool prior to this season as well, but he's returned, so hopefully he's all right. And next one, Joe White has got himself a loan down the road. Well, I say down the road. You know what I mean. Hartlepool, look, we know that he's talented. He can play in centre midfield and then the number 10 role. Can go past the player quite easily. Can slide through, pass. Very, very good on that. Great move for him. We'll have to see how he gets on. Obviously, he's been training with the first team under Bruce and Howe, and made his debut in pre-season, if you remember, as well. So great move for him. We'll have to keep an eye on how he gets on. Be interesting to see stats and goals, isn't it? And we'll move on to Elliot Anderson, I think this is a big one for him. He's at that age now where I feel he's got to be knocking on the door, even though if Newcastle do bring in, which we know we expect to, more players over the summer, Elliot Anderson's got to be knocking around that first team this summer, or I'm a little bit worried. Now, he's gone out with Bristol Rovers on loan. Be interested to see his assists and goals columns come towards the end of the season. He's got to come back in pre-season, whichever division we're in, and he's got to be knocking on the door, and he's got to be in amongst it. I don't think he needs to be registered next season either, which is good. So you'll not need to be registered for the 25-man squad, I believe, because he's younger and obviously Matty. And it's a good move for him, and hopefully he gets a lot of game time. I want to see him demand the ball, get on the ball, let's grab some assists and get some goals. So a big, big one for him, for Elliot Anderson. Matty Bondswell, left back, very talented. Remember, we signed him from Leipzig about 18 months ago. I like him. He kind of reminds me, nowhere near as the same quality of level yet, but in the same physique as Ashley Cole. Skinny young lad, left back, can bomb up and down. That's what he reminds me of. He's got a good move out on loan at Shrewsbury, just down the road from Mr. Sal Mulliner. So it's a good move for him. Keep an eye on him and hopefully play his first team football. And finally, the last one is Jack Young. Very good in centre midfield. Can pick a ball up, can pass really well. So good move for him. Now, he had a poor loan spell when he went to Tranmere, if you remember, last season. I think it's another good move. It's a good move to Wickham. Good level for him. But he's got to play football. He's got to play football for me. And he's another one, really, that his future might be in doubt over the summer, because I think he's talented, but he can't be playing for the under-23s forever. I think he's shown that he's got a bit of talent about him. But, yeah, some good moves there for the loans. Let us know what you think in the comments down below, as ever. Well, that was me over on NFTV Extra, which was uploaded last night, which is our sister channel. Have a look at the channel. I'm on it now. Here you go. If he's unsubscribed, why not? Why not indeed? With just over 2K. We've got obviously women's stuff on there, under 23s.
Oh, you were shivering so much at that women's game. It was cold in that press box, wasn't it?
Very, very cold, freezing. So have a look at that. We've obviously got Sam, Sky Sports News. Matt, when he worked at actual game, he's working for BBC. So there's tons. There's NFL. There's all sorts. Have a look over.
Greenwood and Mulliner shows.
All sorts on there. Yeah, look at that. Katie Barker. Sam again on Sky Sports. God, he's like a celebrity, him. So have a look at our sister channel, NFTV Extra, which is also in the link description down below if you want to have a look at that.
Big 4, 5, 6 months for them kids who you mentioned in that clip there, though. They need game time. There's been too many loan moves for our under-23s that just haven't worked out. And like Matty Longstaff, I know he's gone to like Mansfield, which isn't overly glamorous, but the kid needs games so bad.
I haven't put Matty in that video because he's no longer an under-23 player. I know he's age-wise, he is, but he doesn't play for them. So he's part of the first team, but
he just needs games so desperately. But yeah, I'm looking forward to. I might nip down to a Salop game and see Bondswell in action. My town of birth, Shrewsbury.
Yeah, he's got loads of pace. He's an exciting left back. This is what they need. They either sink or swim. So especially Jack Young, he had a bad time at Tranmere, but he needs game time as well. Elliot Anderson, we all know we've got big hopes pinned on him. Joe White, another one. So yeah, fantastic. Let's hope the lads get game time and come back. And Elliot Anderson, for me, regardless of what happens with the money in the summer, he's got to be knocking on the door and trying to get amongst that first team, because will it be now or never?
Again, like a couple of bad loan moves can really derail you. I mean, you look back at someone like Dan Barlaser.
Yeah.
A couple of crap loan moves whilst he was still at Newcastle. Goes to Rotherham on loan. They sign him on a permanent, and he is absolutely smashing League One to bits.
Yeah, it's too easy for him, isn't it?
I mean, a good run of games, and there's every chance. Like I think back to a player like Ashley Westwood, who was at Crewe in like League 2, League 1 back in the day. He's and then ended up playing in the Premier League with Burnley, Villa. Barlaser is that kind of player. So no surprise now he's got a good run of games.
He's absolutely smashing it in League 1, unlike some other clubs that are out there.
It's tricky.
So, unfortunately, some clubs get battered 6-0, whereas Dan Barlaser takes it easy in his stride and bossing League 1. No mentions of any comments there. I was waiting for that. I was just waiting for that. If you got to come on and take the mickey, and Jermaine Defoe, he's a good signing for Sunderland at that level, but it's third tier level. And how old's Defoe? He's got to be like, how old is he? 38, 39? But anyway,
yeah,
we'll digress. We'll
be good to get a Mackem perspective on the channel soon.
Yes, we will. Keep your eyes peeled. We'll say nothing more. Members, you might know soon. Right, let's have a look at them. You're going to cry because I've just seen Flaming Lejeune's name on there. I don't know why he's on this list. We're going to look at transfer market for arrivals. Bizarrely, Lejeune is classed as a arrival, but because he came back and went back out on loan, but we're not talking about him because Sam will get upset again.
Should never have sold him.
I know. And then,
do you know what the ultimate piss take would be if West Brom got promoted and West Brom sign him?
I know, because Steve Bruce is obviously being appointed today as West Brom manager officially. Poor buggers. So Jeff Hendrick, we know, went out on loan. I think he's another one. Sam, he's leaving.
Good move for him.
It is a good move, but I think he'll be gone in the summer. I think that's him gone. I also think Freddie Woodman could be gone in the summer as well, especially if we strengthen, because we were linked to Dean Henderson, which I've seen in the comments as well. And then you see those lists of names there. You take Willock out, the rest are all done in January. But how would you rate the business there if you look at those names?
Yeah, really strong. Obviously, the two headline buys are Trippier and Bruno Guimaraes from Lyon. And then the others, like we say, are just Premier League players, proven, that can hit the ground running and do a job short term, which is, let's not forget, short term, we're in a bit of a mess. So they're not bad signings. Are they overly glamorous? No, of course not. But no, you don't need that all the time, do you? Bruno could be our...
A lot of people getting excited by him.
Yes, because of his quality. I mean, look, he's not going to be like Willock was at the end of last season, arriving in the box late and scoring, and he's not going to be blasting in 30-yard screamers every week. He's going to be starting moves off, breaking up play in the middle, and then distributing and opening up space. Like a solid holding midfielder, like a Fernandinho with City. These are lofty comparisons, so not at the same ilk anytime soon, but that kind of player, like your Kantes, your old Makaleles, that kind of role, breaking up play, distribute with proper quality, and not just a hit and hope for 30 yards that come off 10% of the time, because our ball retention's horrendous.
Yeah, he's short passing accuracy is in the 90% plus.
So it should be
music to my ears, that.
Yeah.
We're not going to lose the ball because there's so many of them. Sean Longstaff, I'm sorry, I'm picking him, who can just sloppy passes. Shelby pinging them long. Yes, some of them come off, but if we keep the ball, you would think you'll have more chance of scoring goals. I mean, it's not rocket science. You know
but that's what we've been lacking. There's that not just the final pass to the final third, but it's like the first pass in a way, isn't it? To really like get out when we're defending, unless it's a hit and hope to ASM and a quick move on the counter like that. It's we struggle to get the ball forward quickly.
Yeah, I mean, Ciaran Trippier there. I was just looking at him there. 15 La Liga games. I think right now I would probably say he's probably more not statement Simon, but the more higher caliber player, because we've got with a little bit unknown Bruno Gomes, unless you obviously watch Leon week on week out, and there's everybody excited by him, but. That was a great move I thought for Newcastle. Even if we just had Trippier come in, it's like, blooming hell, we've signed Ciaran Trippier in England international, still in international. And he was only captain of England when they played Andorra and the Open. So it's a great move for him. Obviously, Sam, quote.
What? He's got a sexy football brain. He has. His intelligence on the ball and off the ball is just gorgeous. It really is.
Yeah, it's great signing, that fantastic signing. I've already seen it already. Like inside the stadium, you see it more so when you're talking to players. He's already encouraging them as well, which is great. We've already talked about Matt Targett coming in as well. It's all right, but yeah, I'm not majorly overexcited by it. But does he give you more than Lewis at the minute? Probably, which I do feel for Jamal Lewis. We've talked about him already. Joe Willock obviously signed earlier on the season. Chris Wood is an interesting one because I talked about him before. Doesn't have a great amount of movement, but you won all them stats at Leeds, all them headers. I think that's the most by quite some distance that week. He needs service. Obviously, we talked about Fraser briefly. We talked about Trippier now, Targett coming in as well. Do you think when Wilson's fit, he just drops straight to the bench?
Yes.
And we'll still just play the one up top?
Unless... I don't know. He's a good option to have coming off the bench, I suppose. And maybe if it's like we're playing City away or whatever, you might stick him up there to try and hold the ball up for the pacier wingers to get up and support. But look, he's the one that we've obviously paid way over the odds for. But again, it's that short-term investment to do a job in the next 6 to 18 months.
You got a crush. You got a man crush on Trippier?
No. I've only ever had one man crush, and that was Johan Cabaye. So no, it's just an appreciation of Trippier and his footballing prowess. But Chris Wood, we've paid over the odds. It's a short-term signing. If he gets 6 to 7 goals, but between now and the end of the season, that's job done.
Callum, we're not having WhatsApp tonight. You can try again to come on. The link is in the pinned comment if you want to have your say. And we are going to be wrapping up very, very shortly. If anyone else wants to come on and have their say about transfers, whether it's the under 23s, ins and outs, or the 25-man squad, feel free to. You'll get straight on. We'll do the last 5 to 10 minutes and just talk about like overall. We've spent in excess of 90 million. Which is a lot, and that's like what Ashley spent in his like last decade, which is mental. Do you see a point where, because yes, at the moment we can splash the cash, but financial fair play will catch up shortly if we keep doing and going crackers. Do you see it will eventually?
It will eventually, but I think that's way off.
Yeah, the next transfer window, which comes in. Well, the summer, do you see us going crackers again?
Not crackers. I don't think we went crackers in January. I mean, let's not forget Ekatike.
The fee amount, because I know we had to. I know we could have been more because you could have got Carlos.
But with the financial fair play stuff, look, our sponsorship income is desperate. So once that's improved, and we all think what's going to happen will happen when we've got different shirt sponsors, and there's like Aramco or Saudi Airlines stuff going round. So then that'd do a lot to alleviate that. I don't know. I think that's years off, but I can see us going in for your Botmans again, Ekatikes. I like Ozyman from Napoli. There was some rumor, but there's a lot of bullshit rumors out there. Of course there is, but I think we can blast big on a striker in the summer. But it all depends on these next 4 months. These next 3-4 months are the biggest in the club's history because they can really change. And I've got such an immense respect for the Championship. The Championship scares the hell out of me. I love the Championship. It's a great league, but I do not want to play any part of it whatsoever because it is a slog and it's difficult. And we've got away with it at points the last twice we've been down there. Especially under Rafa, there was some times we really got away with it. And under Chris Hughton, the amount of 1-0 wins we used to get away from home when we didn't play all that great. So I don't want to be down there again. I want to enjoy life in the Premier League and not have to worry about relegation battles and see us be competitive in the transfer market.
Yeah, got to be more confident. We'll bring Connor in because Connor's one of our members. Hello, pal. You all right?
All right, lads. How we doing?
All right, mate.
Yes, I wouldn't dare stream with Sam without a Scottish accent this morning.
Good lad there. Thank you very much. Oh, that was my Scottish accent. What you on about?
Oh,
yeah, that was all right, wasn't it? That was all right. Connor, thank you very much for coming on. And it's the same question to you. Obviously, the 3 men that have been left out of today's 25-man squad. Do any of them surprise you?
Not massively. I wouldn't have thought. I think.
You're not a Rangers fan, are you, Connor?
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
So the 25-man squad, which is Ciaran Clark, has been kicked out. Isaac Hayden, the other one, and Jamal Lewis.
Yes. Sorry, just had a wee issue there. That's why. No, yeah, I'm not surprised. I don't think either or any of the 3 of them really have been featured greatly anyway. Maybe Isaac Hayden. But Jamal Lewis, for some reason, why, I don't know. But
are you getting some stick?
Oh, yeah, write it down. It's fine. Lewis is somebody who somehow seems to have fallen out of favour. I don't know. Maybe Bruce and Eddie Howe are seeing something in the training ground that we're not seeing as fans that's making them think, nah, not fancying him. Because we've sat in this stream how many times and called for him to be given that opportunity. And there's clearly a reason behind that. I'd like to know what it is, to be fair, because we did spend, what was it, 13 million or so on him, especially at the time with Ashley in charge. That was a fair amount of cash to have spent. So I'd like to know that.
Do you think it's a confidence thing? Like
possibly. I think it's difficult for a player to have confidence when they're left out so often, when they're not getting that chance. I think under Bruce, it was Bruce who signed him, and then almost never used him. When he came in, he got a little run of games at the start, and then was constantly left out. And I think, how can you be confident when you're seeing the team at times play as poorly as we have done, especially under Bruce, and not getting results, and you still can't get a game, and the manager's still not willing to give you the nod? I have a lot of sympathy for Jamal Lewis, because I do feel he's been harshly treated, because I don't think he's been given a fair crack of the whip. But I guess now, with the options we've got after the transfer window and everything else, I can kind of see why he might have decided, why Eddie Howe has decided that he's not for him at this moment in time. But then, why not just get rid of him in January if he's not going to be in the plans? We could have loaned him out somewhere, or that way at least he's getting game time somewhere, rather than being on our wage bill doing the sum total of nothing.
Going to bring Sam in here. Sam, do you want to ask Connor anything?
No.
Oh, well.
No, just kind of what you kind of make of the centre-back situation. Were you pleased seeing Dan Burn come in, and are we much stronger now than what we were at the start of January?
I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think, we started January with a championship defence. There's no getting away from that, and the leakages were ridiculous. But having somebody like Dan Burn, he's a Geordie lad, he's a Newcastle fan coming home. You know he'll play for the shirt, absolutely, because he cares about the club. And I think having him in there alongside Ciaran Trippier, possibly Matt Targett, I think it just feels a hell of a lot better. I think we'll all feel happier when we see a lineup and the defence is featuring them as opposed to Ciaran Clark and Jamal Lewis or Emil Kraft or whatever. Even I was going to say Fabian Schär, but to be fair, I think he's someone that you probably still keep because I think there is a player in there somewhere waiting to burst out. But no, I'm more confident now that we'll stay up knowing the kind of defence we'll have than I was before, because that's our biggest problem has always been in the defensive area.
No, I would totally agree on that. If you look at the overall transfer window, we've spent up towards 90 million. I know there's a couple of players that you think, you could have got over the line, Hugo and Nketiah. I can never say his name, or one of the two centre-backs that we largely linked to. Ekitike, that we linked to over the whole of the summer. But overall, you look at Ciaran Trippier, I think it's what a signing that is, regardless of if his age or money. And then Targett and Burn, for me, they were good squad players, but probably short-term as a Graves-Town, but that's at best. Woods, I cannot see him being at the club more than 12 to 18 months. I think that position will get strengthened again.
I think Wood's a mistake. I really do. I think, look at the amount of money we spent on him and look at the replacement Burnley have got, Weghorst, £12 million. There's no, I actually couldn't believe when I saw it because I had sat on a stream previously with Steve and we had spoke about Weghorst as a possible target that should be looked at in this window. And for me, it seems
Steve would have told you his date of birth, his weight, his height, and everything.
The thing is, with that though, do you not think it was the risk element of it that they wanted someone with Premier League experience as opposed to someone coming in from Europe who might take 6 to 10 games to get up to speed?
There is that, but even if you were looking at that, look, it remains to be seen with Chris Wood, but I just think his record for Burnley this season in particular hadn't been that great. I think he scored like 3 goals. He's come in, the 2 games he's played for us, for my money, he's not been sharp enough. And that is perhaps just him getting used to new teammates and playing in the style that Eddie Howe is wanting us to play in, because it is markedly different to what Sean Dyche was playing at Burnley. But I just think for £20 million, there were better options we could have got with Premier League experience. And actually, Burnley might think to themselves now, do you know what? Getting rid of Wood was a blow, but arguably they've just brought in an even better striker than Chris Wood.
Right, let's go shout. We're left up with time. Time will tell, but I think Burnley probably will miss Ashley Barnes as well a lot this season because him and Wood are a handful. And it wouldn't surprise me Burnley still turning up and beating someone like an Arsenal because they've got it in them. But the excitement one has got to be Bruno Guimaraes, which everyone's talking about. It's the first time we've signed a Brazilian international since like the late 80s, early 90s when Mirandinha come in. Are you expecting big things from him?
Yeah, I think he'll, that thing Sam was talking about there, he'll take, game or two to just kind of adjust to the style of play in the Premier League. But definitely, there's a reason the list of clubs that were sniffing around him were there and they were interested. I think it's a positive sign for the future and future transfer windows for us that we've been able to sort of jump in there ahead of those clubs and kind of go, well, if they're going to wait till the summer, we'll get the deal done now. And he's certainly somebody, I've admittedly not seen loads of him, but I know enough about him from things I've read, things I've seen, and the way other clubs were looking at him to tell you that clearly this is a very, very good player. And I think it could be exciting as well, because you look at the midfield, throw him in there, you could have a pretty decent midfield on our hands now. have Saint-Maximin in there. You've got Almiron still there, Joe Willock, Gomares himself. Even Shelvey, to be fair to him, was outstanding against Leeds. So if he can keep that kind of form up, you never know. So definitely one of those ones that I think we've done a terrific bit of business to nick in there and pick him up, really. And the other thing as well is I think some of the signings and some of the clubs who tried to kind of take the mickey out of us, and some of the players who felt they were a bit too big for us just now, I think, in a couple of years to come will come to regret those decisions.
Yeah, everyone is excited by him. You can see even when he was just 2 years ago, it's funny that they both moved on the same day. Bit ironic, that, isn't it? And then when he left Atletico, whoever, I don't know, they are in Brazil, to Leon, 18 million. That's still a big fee, and obviously Leon have got the massive profit fee potentially rising as well. When you look at that, the transfers there, Connor, do you look at that and think it has been a great window? I mean, what would you score out of 10?
Personally, I think I'd score it a solid, probably a 7 out of 10. It's not been barnstorming, but I don't think, if we were all being realistic, that it was going to be, we weren't going to go down the route of what Man City did and sign the Robinhos of the world or whatever, because the position we were in the table. And I think people forget that, because I've heard a lot of comparison over Man City's first window versus ours, but City were in a far more comfortable position in the league at that time than we were. They weren't really at much that relegation. We're currently sitting second bottom, so that is going to have an impact. And considering that with the players we've got, I think it's good business. I think the biggest positive is we've managed to get players in who know the Premier League inside out. Dan Burn and Matt Targett, particularly Dan Burn, he's been in terrific form for Brighton this season as well. They've played enough Premier League football to know what to expect and to be up for the fight. So, yeah, and there's always room for improvement. So I think 7's fair. It gives you enough breathing room for improvement.
Yeah, Sam, what would you score? Because I scored an 8, considering where we were in the table. I think Johnny scored it a 7. And obviously you can see now the Newcastle squad there, it does have much better depth.
Yeah, I would have scored it an 8. I would have liked another centre-back, either the Carlos or Botman. But that would have been on a par with Bruno signing. Let's not forget, January windows are notoriously difficult anyway. Not to mention we're in the relegation zone and have been all season. And doesn't matter how much money you've got in the bank, when you're down the bottom, you're going to struggle. And there was all these rumours of Premier League clubs not going to be able to, not wanting to do business with us. We've done business with Brighton, Villa. Burnley obviously didn't want to do business. That's why we had to activate the release clause of Chris Wood. And then we've got our 2 marquee signings from Europe in Trippier and Bruno Guimaraes. So I think it's been a real good window. I don't think we could have done much more. I don't think we could have asked for any more. It definitely hasn't been for not want of trying. And the new owners have been fantastic since they've come in. And if we do manage to finish in that golden 17th spot, then we're in for some fun in the summer, I think. But it's going to be so tough.
Just about to comment on that, Connor. We beat Everton. Look at that. Because we play Everton on Tuesday. If we beat Everton,
it's going to be tough.
It is going to be tough. Because we've only won 2 games all season. But look at that. They're only 4 points. I know they've got a game in hand, but they're only 4 points ahead of it. We win that, we're a point behind Everton.
It's it would be quite a huge thing. Listen, I think Everton, I think their appointment of Frank Lampard's good. I think I would have preferred us playing them before they made that appointment, but I don't think they're out of danger at all. Not with the signings they've made, not really. So I think it would be it's a winnable game, but it will be a very tough game. And to win that, obviously the hope is that we win that and Norwich slip up so we can get ourselves outside of the relegation zone. And I think we need to do that because Norwich seem to have picked up a little bit of momentum behind them. They're off the back of a couple of wins in a row.
Watford, new manager bounce. Everton, new manager bounce. Look at Everton's midfield now. Jesus, Dele Alli and Van der Beek. Where's that come from?
Yes, that's very true. But I still think that the thing with those signings, though, they're good signings on paper, certainly, and they've both got, good pedigree. The issue is they're also two currently out of sort of favour players at their home clubs. Dele Alli has not played a lot of football really over the course of the last 2 seasons, not just this season. And by all accounts, that part of that's because he's had some sort of attitude problems as well. So, if he carries that into Everton, that might not be a healthy thing for them. But of course,
I made a very, very similar argument this time last year about Jesse Lingard, and look what happened.
Well, true.
I didn't want him last year. I thought it was.
Got that wrong, didn't I?
I got that. I was like, I don't want Jesse Lingard. Look what he did with West Ham. Connor, I'm going to say thank you very much for coming on because we're going to wrap up in the last few minutes. So thank you very much.
Cheers, pal. That
Well,
wasn't proper Scottish. I fucked that up. I do apologise.
Yes. Well, I will probably catch you on well, maybe not you two particularly, but on Tuesday night when the Everton game.
Yeah.
No, one of us might be on here.
Are you fan reaction, Sam?
I'll be in bed by then, mate. No.
He's already wanting to jump off of bed already.
Yep.
Connor, thank you very much, and we'll see you Tuesday then.
See you Tuesday, lads.
Thank you very much, Connor. Right, and the last word we'll speak, Sam, because I did have it up there, was the league table. The fixtures, and then we'll wrap up. If you look at that now, with the squad that we've got in, we're not playing any of the big boys until we play Chelsea. So the next 4 or 5 games, expect Newcastle to start picking up some points. I hope you're going to say yes.
I hope so. I'm just terrified. I'm not pessimistic. I'm very much a realist. Chelsea games are write-off. Stamford Bridge was we've never done well there. Even before Chelsea got rich under Abramovich. I know we had a couple of nice wins, one in the League Cup and one that Cisse double, but apart from that, it's been pretty grim.
You want to be safe by the time.
You have to be safe by the end of April.
Yeah, because look at that. That's horrendous. Then the 3 out of the last 4. You don't want to go into that Burnley game needing something.
No, correct. Arsenal again. We have a horrendous record against only that one win at St James's in the first season back under Rafa. But yeah, the Everton game's huge, winnable on paper, but I don't know. I've got a bad feeling about it. Same with Villa. Villa are a tough team these days. West Ham flying. Brentford, tough place to go these days. Brighton, we've never beaten at home in the Premier League, and then I don't know. There's work to be done. That we're going to be scrapping and clawing for every point earned between now and the end of the season. Same with Watford. Same with Burnley. Same with Norwich. Yeah, it's going to be pretty uncomfortable, I'm afraid to say. But hopefully we can come out the other side and survive in the Premier League for another year.
Fingers crossed, and hopefully we'll get Callum Wilson back in the next 6-7 weeks. He's due to come back. But yeah, what have we got coming up? So I don't know if you want to tell anything what's coming up on the podcast or nothing, Sam. Do you want to?
We'll have a Greenwood and Mulliner show either Sunday night or Monday night, whichever night the preview for Everton isn't. And then me and Johnny are recording 1, maybe 2 shows on Wednesday as well. So we've got 3 shows coming up over the next 7-8 days.
We've got the preview. I think Johnny wants to do that with his pal because he's an Evertonian, so that's fine. And then obviously the match. Well, you know what happens in the match day stuff. We'll have the big, massive match day live watch along, and then there'll be a couple of videos out to St James's Park. It's a nighttime game, so it's probably just going to be me and Johnny, I would have thought, post-match stuff. But we'll sort that out with our lads on the WhatsApp stuff. And yeah, so that is your wrap-up. So that's a 25-man squad. Thank you for Connor. Sorry, Callum, you couldn't get on for your connection issues. And we're talking about transfers as well. If you've just joined us, this video will be processed in the next 10 to 15 minutes. You can go back and watch it. And remember, our sister channel, NFTV Extra, has about 3 or 4 uploads per week as ever.
And remember, to subscribe to the audio podcast of the Greenwood and Mulliner Show on all podcast apps and rate 5 stars. Thank you.
I'm surprised you haven't clicked the banner for that yet. Are you looking for it?
No, I'm hands free tonight.
Hands free, but yeah, that is it. Yeah, we've got to do some filming for some sponsors and stuff, but that's for you to see another day. Thank you very much, everyone. Sam, thank you for as ever, and we'll see you all very, very soon.